So we said that we're holding by Siman Dalet. It says the eating of death is the eating of Golos, the eating of Mitzrayim, constriction. The main essence of Teffilin is to squelch the prevalent state of death that remains, that rules over the weekdays, which, as a result of which, one does not feel the humbleness and the humility of Moshe Rabbeinu that is in every single limb of yours.
Like Rabbi Akiva, when he tore off his flesh, when he got to the point of the Teffilin, that's when he passed away, right?
No.
That Teffilin
It wasn't Rabbi Akiva. It wasn't Rabbi Akiva. It's Rabbi Shmuel, when they took off his flesh, they removed his flesh. When they got to Mokum film, this is when he screamed. That this is a P'chinas Misa that Adam Rishon, because if Adam Rishon would not have sinned, he would have lived forever, would have existed forever. So like this, if Adam Rishon wouldn't have sinned, he would already live eternal life in his own body. That he would merit while he was still alive in his body was to the Anova Moshe Rabbeinu be'emes, in all the limbs, which constitutes the eternal life. But he wouldn't have to die at all. But since he was pregnant, that's why he was chased away from Gan Eden. And Hashem put on the angels to guard the way to Eitz Chaim. This is why it is now totally impossible for a person to attain, eternal life, with totality, with completely. First of all, he would die. He has to die first. And he will return to the dust the way he was. Because dust you are, and to dust you shall return.
How is it that these, like Eliyahu and Avi and...
That's the Yotzim Naklal that proves the Klal. You always have in this world various simonim that Kodesh Baruch Hu leaves behind to let you know b'fchinas tzmichas keren Yeshua. That the Gemara says, it's going to be that in the Olam Haba, women will give birth and be pregnant at the same time. So, I don't remember, one of the tzdukim says that, Rabbi Yochanan said that, I think. He says, how can it possibly be? It cannot be, blah, blah, blah. So he said, well, why can it be? Take a look at the chicken in this world. This is exactly what's happening. Chicken is pregnant and gives birth constantly. It's a cycle. It keeps on happening.
So he shows us remazim through it.
It gives us all these remazim. It says asidim. It says that the trees are going to give out your ready-made cakes, whatever is a clay mila. So how can you find? So you see that slav, that it has. You can eat every single part of it, and the same thing is that Mesa Olam when they will come out of their graves. It said, "B'mumam oimdim." In other words, if somebody doesn't have an arm, he will come out of the grave without an arm, and then HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to heal him, and his arms are going to grow. I says, come on, where have you ever seen that a limb will grow? Yeah, you have the lizard, the tail cuts off and it regrows. And the point is that this world is littered is peppered with telltale signs that what is going to be in the world to come. Man, the same thing with Hanoch and Eliyahu, and it's also the same Indian that.
But they never experienced death, so how do they have eternity?
No, what they need, I don't know. Because I don't know.
Yesterday we said
It couldn't be that they have a chisoram because they didn't experience death. It says this is behechach,
That's just the normal way of
Yes, that's the klal. That's the klal. Yes, I'm sorry.
no. So yesterday we seemed to be saying we said some, I can't remember the exact lashon, that somebody never puts on tefillin. It would seem that they don't have a chilek in olam haba.
That's chayv nisa.
And so that seems to go against the principle that all Israel has a chilek in olam haba.
He says if he's not zoiche, if a person is not zoiche, he loses his chilek and his chaver is zoiche in that chilek. So you have a chilek, but you don't claim it. He has a chilek. But the question is does he take possession of it or not?
So the guy next to him gets the 2 seats instead of.
That's right. That's right. Says because of that, it is impossible for a person to be zoicha b'shleimus to bechina of chaim nitzchim, except through the misa that first he has to die. It is impossible to actually attain the total humbleness. Which is what the offer is, except by physically dying. The person should return to dust mamish. And then it be wasted in the ground totally. It will break down. And all the toxins, the filth, of the body, would just be completely cleansed. Shubchinas gashmis, all the gashmis of the body, which is this is the zuama of the body. Everything will turn to dust. Then every person will be zoche according to his deeds to get up in Tchias HaMesim. That his true humbleness will arise and he will live in eternal life. Even Moshe Rabbeinu himself, the great tzaddik Moshe Rabbeinu himself, had to die. I mean, it's the Nova Moshe that was seeking. But Moshe, of course, got it. He had to die for the sake of Klal Yisrael. So when he will be able, when he gets out, when he is resurrected, his own Anov will be resurrected in Klal Yisrael, and everybody will get up with him. Now his Anov, his humbleness is by them in Pchinas death. It's dead by them. Moshe Rabbeinu has to resurrect Am Yisrael with Tchias HaMesim. This is why the moshel that Chazal bring in Dvarim Rava about that's the reason why Moshe Rabbeinu had to die. They said that it's a moshel for a king that lost a ruby. And it says then he sifts amongst the sand, to find the ruby. Once he finds the ruby, he throws the sand. Now, what does a king have to do with playing in sand? Why would a king? For the ruby, for the sake of the ruby, so it says. Moshe Rabbeinu died, and he entered the sand together with Klal Yisrael that have to pass away. So us, for our own bechina, it's not worthy for the melech to come and play around with the sand, and try to sink the sand. But to find Moshe Rabbeinu, to find the ruby, it's worth it. So once Moshe Rabbeinu comes, we're, B'ezrat Hashem, we'll all go with him.
What will happen with the door that receives Mashiach, right? None of us will die.
Rabbeinu says Mashiach himself will die. Rabbeinu says before, if people think that when Mashiach will come, people will stop dying, he says, I have news for them. Mashiach himself will die.
It's Mashiach ben Yosef.
You want me to invent something? I'm willing. You know that. He said Mashiach himself will die.
We'll all die.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
experience a rebirth.
Yes. If you're banking on,
Mashiach is
skipping
here,
that.
you're not going to die. So we'll be 80,
Yes.
90 years old and die.
I don't know, but whatever we'll be, whichever age we need to be. And this is when Rabbeinu says people think that you have to live a long life. This is it's enough, short but good. This is enough. There's no Indian level. This is Rabbeinu says that Kodesh Baruch Hu never does it to me to take anybody away from me before it's time. Any of my people. Whenever any age, whatever it is that one of Anash is passing away, is exactly the right age when it's supposed to be. Not the day before, not the day late. The Rebbe says in this particular Torah is that you have to have das in the Anova, because Avada in the Anova does not mean being depressed. That's not the meaning of Anova. That's not the pshat in Anova. And we said it once before, but I think that it's an important thing to mention again. In last week's parsha, we said this Indian of Vidui Maisa. And we said that the Vidui Maisa, you said the good stuff. What kind of a confession is that? So we said that the reason is because if you really want to take stock of yourself, your life, and your deeds, you need to bring into account the good stuff as well. Because otherwise, you're just playing a game. It's more than just that. Basically, almost each and every one of us has what you would call fundamental injuries that we went through, that we got when we were very young. These are basic, what they call it, they're fixed notions and perceptions about who we are and the way we are, that basically go with us for life. You can find, somebody, that has in his building, he has this parking spot. This is your apartment, this parking spot, this is yours. And somebody parks in there, and so a person can take out a tire iron and bust the skull open. Whoa! So he parked in a parking spot. What's the rage? Was it sometimes there are certain things that happen and people just totally explode. And if they don't explode, it's because it's something that happens between there and their boss or somebody that cannot allow themselves, or a policeman, or somebody who cannot allow themselves to be angry with. So they go home and they explode on the captives that they have at home, which is the wife and the children and anybody else. Because what can they do? They're going to run away. They need you. And so they're the victims. The point is, so why, something? What's the big deal of somebody parking in the parking lot? The answer is that as we grow up, we experience various things that happen to us. So people can go through life with the feeling that they're guilty. To the point that, let's say they're traveling by bus, and at the end of the bus somebody's saying, "Where's my wallet?" And and you check your pockets to see that maybe you took it by mistake. You weren't thinking about it. I'm for sure guilty, but I just don't know what I'm guilty of. But it's for sure that I'm guilty. It's like a fundamental fact that I'm guilty of what? We'll find out. Somebody calls you up and says, listen, I want to talk to you about something. You say, oh, did I do? I know he caught me now, but I don't know what. I can remember. But that doesn't mean I didn't do it. It just means I don't remember. So do me a favor, what do you want to talk to me about until that happens, just to quiet myself down, because I'm guilty. Or there's a feeling of worthlessness. I'm worthless. So if I do something which is truly worthy, it feels alien. It feels like, how did it happen? It's like my atzlacha is HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the failures are mine. I botched it up. I succeeded because Hashem made it, so decide, either or. If Hashem succeeds it, Hashem also caused it to fail. If you failed it, you also cause it to succeed. Decide. No. Success is from Hashem. Failure is just mine. Because you're going around with this basic injury of feeling, worthless, or not a very famous one is not worthy to be loved. But a person can go with a relationship between him and the Kadosh Baruch Hu, where he's learning Torah, and he's doing everything, but there's like an invisible wall between him and the Kodesh Baruch Hu, usually because there was an invisible wall between him and his father, and the most of the fathers did most of Kodesh Baruch Hu, because when you grow up, who is God? Your father is God, until you grow up and find out that not necessarily. But then you transfer, there's a transfer that happens, your view of Hashem always has a trace of the way you viewed your father. So if there was a transfer, a wall of mistrust or a certain feeling that you don't deserve to be loved, that is going to be between you and HaKadosh Baruch Hu afterwards also. You're going to dress it up in all kinds of fancy levushim, as that, I don't deserve it, Chatanu, Avinu, Pashanu, all that, and for sure Hashem is tzaddik, and whatever he does is good, I'm the one to blame, I'm the one who botched it up, whatever. Whoa, it does not come from true anova. It's not a true relationship between you and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's a relationship that's influenced by by an elemental injury that you have between you, that you don't really trust HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that you figure HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to somehow get you, somehow going to punish you, because you deserve to be punished, because you don't deserve to be loved. If people go around with this kind of thing, that's why the union of vidui, the vidui of Maisa starts with the good stuff that you did. You did this, and you did this, and you did this, and you did this. As Rabbeinu says, I want you to go in the Kudas Teves. I want you to find the good points in you. And it's only when you find in the Kudas Teves you can come to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and you can tell him the truth. You can tell him, Rebbeinu Shalom, I feel that I'm so not deserving of being loved that I don't trust you. And it's not because of you. I don't know you. So it's just, I know you only did was just good stuff. But it's within me, and I can get over it. Open up the narrative. Open up the issues. Speak to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Get to where you really are. And this is the union of because ultimately what you really need to awaken is the true anova, which is inherent inside you, the elemental anova, not the mind games that you play with yourself, not the demyonis that you have, these elemental injuries. Because what happened is that if I feel, when I feel despised, okay, I feel that people despise. I feel despised. Okay, so what happens, or unappreciated? That's another one of those elemental. So when somebody parks in a parking lot, that awakens up this And not only this, but what it does at the same time, it brings about all the instances in my life. Yet I experienced that kind of feeling of being trampled on and unappreciated, and being put down. And it's like a tsunami of feeling. Of course, you take out the tire and you want to bash the guy's head in. It's not about the car, it's not about the parking space. It's all those injuries that you're carrying along that particular line. All he did is just triggered it. That's it. We have to start opening these things up and ultimately get to the true Anova.
Well, we all have, God forbid, a murderer inside us, just waiting for that trigger to be pushed. Is that what you're saying? Like, you have a violent person in you, if you don't fix those things.
What I'm saying is, what I'm saying is that
We all have anger.
what the anger is going to take each and any one of us, is that a gift?
It is.
Ah, fantastic, fantastic. Just want to show everybody, we have a gift. This is a rubber band. You don't know that, but that camera is held with low-tech rubber bands onto the tripod.
Only in
MCS.
MCS do we rejoice.
Yes, MCS is Medamic Cleaning Services. That's what the shir is about. To clean the Medama. Because Tachlis, what we want to do is we want to resurrect the true Anova inside us. Because Yesoda offer, you have to understand, that Yesoda offer it has, the good side and the bad side. The bad side is depression and apathy and laziness and heaviness, dispiritedness, disenchantment, whatever you want to call it. But the offer b'kedusha is like the essence of goodness. Everybody tramples on it, and it gives. It just keeps on giving. You plant in it, and it gives you a full plant. You dig in it, and it gives you diamonds and gold and ores and everything. It just offers the essence of goodness. The tzaddik is the soda offer. The tzaddik is the element of earth, of dust, because the teva of the tzaddik is to give, even those who trample on him, just give and give and give and give. People wonder how come, people are so, people go to Uman, people that are so far away from Yiddishkeit. But Hashem, next week you'll have, literally dozens of thousands of people, like 30, 40,000 people, B'ezrat Hashem. The reason why they go there is because of the goodness, the kindness of Rabbeinu. You come there, you feel that you belong. You feel that you are embraced. You feel, but the real you is embraced. Not that you're embraced because, hey kids, do anything you want as long as you don't hurt anybody. Hippie kind of mentality. That's not what it is. It's just that the tzaddik knows who you are. He puts his eyes onto you. He sees you. He looks at you, and he gives you his eyes. You actually are able to taste, even though you cannot put your finger on it, your own wonderfulness. Everybody that comes to Rosh Hashanah, it doesn't matter if they are like the biggest tzaddikim or the biggest bums. Everybody feels at home. I belong here. There's Baruch Hashem, Choshev people, and everything, but everybody feels totally comfortable. I mean, if you try to go to a shul in Me'asharim, you feel like you're liable to feel like a goy coming into Yom Kippur to a shul. It's like by the way, they said that the Birkei Yosef, the big posek, that he wrote that he once came to the Besmedrash of the Maggid for the Mizrich. And who was there? The Balatanya was there, the Rebbe Melech Mizhensk was there, the Rebbe Zusha was there, Rebbe Yisrael Berditchever was there. These are all the Talmidim were there. So he wrote a letter. He says, I mamish felt like a goy entering a shul on Yom Kippur. And they said that for this, because he wrote this, he was zeichet that Birkei Yosef was miskabel you know, the Choltfutz Yisrael, you know, that La Aloha, because that was a true humility. That was when he met Gdula, when he met Kedusha. What he felt was his anova, his shiflus. That's what he felt.
Inferiority.
No. Yeah, well, yes.
Not inferiority in that sense. I think he meant.
I think it is
Before
inferiority because it says, "Ra'uni narim v'nachba'u." You know, youth have seen me and they hid. Because when the small sees the great, you know, it feels automatically
Not a negative,
bashful.
Not a negative.
Yeah, but it's not just a negative. It's more realistic, rather than guilt. It's just what can you do? Right? You heard Yasha Heifetz plays the violin. What can you do? It's you can't do it. Yeah, well, what can you do? It's just like Jimi Hendrix plays the guitar. What can you do? You can't do that. Well, doesn't mean that I did something wrong. You just can't do it. You know, you feel when you stand in front of greatness, you have a certain kind. You see who you really are. You see your stature. He came and he saw this kind of kedusha. This is
Right, but was he inferior? The difference is he was Jimi Hendrix.
yeah. Well, when the Pnei Yosef saw the Magid and all these tzaddikim, yeah, he saw what he saw. It was the biggest tzaddikim in the world. I mean, there were no tzaddikim in the world almost since the days of the Nevi'im like that. So it's impossible to put in those Shmek of Nikolsburg, his brother, you know, the Baal HaFlo.
Are we talking in terms of Hasidic greats, you're saying that they are?
No. I'm talking about. See, the thing is that when Arizal came down and he revealed everything that he revealed it on the theoretical level. The Baal Shem Tov took the Teres Arizal and he made it into a system. Okay, it's the difference in effect was that you take a little old lady that walks around with a walker, and you put her on a jet plane. Okay, she's faster than what's his name, the runner, Bolt, Carl Lewis, or whatever it is. She's a lot faster. I mean, she's faster than him falling off a cliff, right? It's just like she's in a jet plane. So the Baal Shem Tov brought a system that suddenly put all the tzaddikim on a jet plane. They got to Madregas, Reb Shmeko of Nikolsburg said if they would have called him Shmuel instead of Shmelke, he would have attained the Madregas of Shmuel Anovi. It's like, you're talking about, you know, it lasted only until, you know, for 3 generations. You know, then it disappeared. Until Rabbeinu came, and Rabbeinu brought it down so that each and every one of us can get these Madregas. Now we can all enter the jet plane. When the Baal Shem Tov...
It just seems like I know I've gone through this before, but it does seem like an exclusive club. When you talk about people at the same time, the Vilna Gaon, people like that, these people, they're dying, they were great. You can't say that he's a little old lady on a Zimmer frame. You can't.
No, I'm not talking about the Vilna Gaon. I'm talking about us being little old ladies on a...
I thought you said he put the tzaddikim on the airplane.
Yeah. The Baal Shem Tov created a system that when a person... The Medrash says Mefurish says that it's in our days that I think the Baal Shem Tov, the imam of the Baal Shem Tov said that sorry, I need to find out who says it and where it said it. That today with small deeds you can arrive the madregas of tzaddikim that had to work so much harder in previous generations because you're actually standing on their shoulders. But the point is that Arizal said it to Reb Chaim Vital. Now I remember. Arizal said to Reb Chaim Vital that Arizal said about the show of Reb Chaim Vital, what it has to do, whatever it is. Reb Chaim Vital said, you know, where am I in all this? So he said, you're right. He says, but in this generation, with Pe'ula Kala, you know, with greater ease, you can reach the Madrega of Akiva, v'chola. because there's already the system. So what I'm saying is that when you put the little old lady and Joe Louis on the ground, it's obvious who's going to be faster. The fact that if the little lady doesn't take the jet plane, she's not faster than Joe Louis or whoever the runner is, right? What I'm saying is, but now there's a possibility for little ladies to come from America to Israel within 12 hours. You mean that they are greater than Richard Leinhardt that made the trip from England to Jerusalem? And how long did it take him? A month, years? I don't know how long it took him to get there. A little lady comes in 12 hours, she's here. It was a big deal. Because it's a jet plane. The tzaddikim keep on bringing down these new, the tzaddikim brings down a madrega that even us in the lowest of all madregas, we can reach in Kibbutz HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's, by the way, you weren't there, and Rav Malcolm, that says that the reason why the Rebbe wanted to be buried in Uman, Dafka, is because Uman is the lowest of all the places in the world. It's a filthy place.
He said that?
Yeah. It's a low place. But Dafka there, you have to be around HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's why I wanted to be buried there. And if it wasn't for the 30,000 Kedoshim that were buried there, he wouldn't have been able to do it. He needed their assistance, with the 30,000 people that died at Kiddush Hashem, and we're being with them, and then everybody comes there, can coronate and Mamlech Kadosh Baruch Hu on the entire world, dafka from the lowest of the low, because when you're Mamlech Kadosh Baruch Hu on the lowest, everything else falls in between. It includes everything else.
Right, so it's Vada because you're in that place doing Teshuvah next to Rabbeinu and next to 30,000 people who died at Kiddush Hashem. You're standing on their shoulders.
Yeah, and
Even Rabbeinu's standing on their shoulders.
No, what Rabbeinu is not just standing on the shoulder. What Rabbeinu does is he needs their assistance. He says Rabbeinu says that when sometimes Elisha is called Elisha, sometimes is called Isha Elokim, right? So it says when. So Rabbeinu says when is he called Elisha? He's called Isha Elokim. When the Bnei Nevim are with him, they give him the koyach, and he's Isha Elokim. When they're not with him, he's called Elisha Stam. The tzaddik, when you come to the tzaddik, there's Isha Elokim, then he has the koyach of all the people that come to him, and he's able to pull for them and for the entire world. That's why it is dafka in Uman. So all the people that wanted dafka to bring Rabbeinu to Eretz Yisrael is nonsense. He b'chavona wanted to be buried there, because that's the lowest place of them all. Now they have this kind of. Hashem will finish this now, and we'll do a little bit of Likutei.
I wasn't actually following. Where would you read up
Just
to?
press the little button over there.
We got to